Hi everyone. I am entirely different from a field of yours. I'm talking for private pathologies. I have been working in private pathology for the last 28 years, occasionally deviated a little bit. Here I am to talk about my experience with us diagnostics. But there is nothing left to talk. Is it okay? Okay. I'm short. All right. There is nothing left for me to sing the song of praises about us diagnostics. My previous speakers all spoke about it so well. And I'm going to say the same thing. But what I'm going to say is how it helped us as a private pathologist, helped us to increase our patients' outcomes. So in 2016, I joined Austech Medical Laboratories, taking over medical microbiology department. At that time, there was no molecular testing was available in practice in my department. What they were doing was only rapid test, ICT, for flu A, flu B, RSVs, and Giardia, and all those things. When I took over that year, the flu was really, really high in numbers. Turnaround was terrible. 2017 is the highest one we ever had. It was nearly 9,360 samples in New South Wales alone. And as it was said before, most of the cases are from ACF, aged care facilities. Mainly it said that it was the reservoir causing all this endemic every year after year after year. And we as a private pathologist, we do service a lot of aged care facilities. So I thought this is high time we get into molecular testing for the flu. So I proposed it and my management agreed. And we started running PCR. But first we went behind another platform. I don't want to mention the name, but we did. Because I don't want to talk any bad about anybody. But they were very good for chlamydia, gonorrhea. Yes, it was very good, user-friendly, less consumables. Results were pretty good, everything is good. But our main intention was to run flu. And then we came to know they are not TGA approved. I said, excuse me, because we are all NATA accredited laboratories. We have got NPAC guidelines to follow. So we cannot run or report any test that is not accredited by TGA. So that was a big letdown for us and disappointment. And from nowhere, suddenly we came across us diagnostics. I said, oh, well, okay, that's my first encounter with us diagnostics. So the first platform was installed in March 2018. Am I supposed to change the thing? Nothing is happening. Which button is that? Okay. Yeah, that I talked about, the peak hours of flu. And then on the next one this is our first installation of PCR machine, first molecular testing in my laboratory. And I took the credit because I really projected it and I really took everything on my own, including the validation, verification, everything. And first one we installed was one AMT prep and one IPLEX, just to run the basic flu. We had the honor of Dimitri come and help us to install and train us. And that was a very, very exciting for us because that was the first molecular testing. From then on, my journey really, really took off with us diagnostics. Like we all know about the respiratory panels, which we were after, came with targets of flu A, flu B, RSV in one panel, along with other bacterial pathogens, Bordetellus, and other viruses as well. That was respiratory panel B we started with. And we were really excited to report in one report the entire one. Is it flu or not? Is it rhino or is it metapneumovirus or RSV? Is it Bordetella? So it just stops the physicians from repeat requesting. Or we tell you negative flu, then what is it? Then we test again. That is removed. One report, they get all the results they want. And we were very, very happy with that one. And that increased the number of samples logarithmically to us. Because the flu, as we know, should be informed the positives within 24 hours or 18 hours so that they can start the flu, the Tamiflu. And as we have said, majority of our patients were from the aged care. They need the medicine immediately. So when we are not using molecular testing, it is sent away, they wait for the results, reporting. It was not very good. And they were not happy and we were not happy. But once we started using respiratory panel B, the turnaround time is reduced so much, we were able to give the results then and there. That brought us more and more clients. For our business, it was really good. As the flu season started going down, we looked into some of the STD panels. How can we improve? We were doing chlamydia, gonorrhea, and trichomonas, so far with other platforms. And whenever we report negative for chlamydia, gonorrhea, trich, they'll ask, what about mycoplasma, ureaplasma? Then we run the mycoplasma, ureaplasma. So it is again the second repeat, and it takes time again, and different panels, and it's not cost effective. At that time, I look around, of course, Austech Diagnostics gave me urogenital panel. It was really good because we went from clam, gono, trich alone target, but we started reporting ureaplasma and mycoplasma as well. When that was going very well, we were able to report more mycoplasma genitalium positives. The moment the positive result goes, of course, they want to know the resistance. So again, I look up to Nathaniel and Natalie. And I said, hey, what am I going to do? They said, no problem. Here you go, we got another one. The urogenital panel, given resistance one. So all I do is look up, hey, what do I do? There they are. They're always there for us to support. So that really, really helps us to run the business as well, because we satisfy the customers as they wanted. So that shows in the increase in numbers. So whoever in my management opposed for molecular testing all started being quiet, because we proved our point. We really proved our point. And while we are doing successfully the urinogenitals, we have to evolve, right? So we get next fecal pathogens. Okay. Again, fecal pathogens, we started with the other platform, but they have got only limited targets, only bacterial or viral or parasite. So we had to run 3 runs. And 3 runs in billing also didn't help us, because for one feces, like we say MPS, we get 1 bill, we can rebate. But when we do 3 different tests, we are getting paid for 1, so we were going at a loss. As I told you, private pathologists stick with the budget. So they looked at me, that's not good. So again, I looked up to Austech Diagnostics, and they gave me fecal pathogens M panel. Wow, aren't we excited? Because not only bacteria, viral, parasites, as well as Clostridium difficile, everything was in one panel. That again gave us a very good name among our clients. Not only that, my management were happy, it was very cost efficient. So we are going more and more towards Austech Diagnostics, deviating from the first platform we used, for a reason. While we are dealing with the fecal pathogen M panels, we started getting lots of inquiries for Dientamoeba fragilis and Blastocystis hominis, as if I think it is an emerging pathogen among these areas. And Dientamoeba fragilis, I'm a microbiologist basically, right? I'm not going to bag my microculture. But we cannot do the staining every time for Dientamoeba. It needs expertise as well. So we were not detecting Dientamoeba in our normal microscopy that we do for usual routine feces samples. Again, we looked up to update our panel. And then comes this panel A, which really gives me Cryptosporidium as well, Dientamoeba, and Blastocystis. So what happens is, in one request, my doctor gets the results for everything. He doesn't have to rule out or if it is not bacterial, it must be viral. If it is not viral, it must be parasitical. No, we give them what they want in one go, and that was very much accepted by. And during the rainy season, we reported a couple of cryptosporidium. That's it. We got lots and lots of requests for cryptosporidiums. So that was very well going with it. Again, we went from fecal panel. Our next evolution is HSV panel. And HSV panel, I learned a lot today from the speeches because we were doing just basic HSV 1 and 2, varicella, adeno, entero, and CMV. But I didn't know that you can even include other ones, but it's pretty good. And it also gives us lots of optometrist uses us now for the surgical ones, or what do you call it, for the eye infections, conjunctivitis. So HSV panel is very much appreciated among our clients. And during that time, while we are enjoying all this evolution with us diagnostics, we are also successfully accredited by NATA for all our platforms, including the one that I've been using. In fecal pathogens, though it covers most of the targets, we still do culture. We have to do culture too. We cannot bypass the culture as we are only reporting Salmonella as a Salmonella species. We don't do Salmonella typhi or typhimurium. It is not species. Though it's included in the target, the physicians know only as a Salmonella species. And also we are supposed to notify Westmead Hospital, Public Health, every Salmonella we isolate. And they wanted to isolate as well the organism for their serotyping and for their database. So we could not avoid culture at the moment still. So we are still doing fully culture, microscopy, and PCR for my microscopies. And there goes my excitement. Once we started, my excitement got to the higher level once we get to vaginosis panel. Man, what can they do more for me? Because this vaginitis has been always a hazy area for microbiologists. And as we said, because as we go more and more automated, the skills are really going down and down. Old people like us, we still have those skills, but I think it's going to diminish soon. Because I'm seeing that in coming new scientists, they are so dependent on automated. Their skill of identification is really going down. So teaching them about the new gen score, teaching them to differentiate the normal flora between, I go to the next one, right? Sorry. Thank you. So this is my first piece. Sorry, please forgive me. And this vaginosis panel also was really well received by us as well as for this one. And also it helps us a lot to know that we don't need any extraction for it. And this expertise for identifying vaginitis without PCR belongs to this microscopy, detection of clue cells. If it is missed, we have to keep on checking the grams every day. And of course, it's overgrown by the parasites. And we don't grow the Gardnerella because it's very fastidious. It needs special media, even then we don't grow very well. But my vaginosis PCR is excellent because it not only gives me Gardnerella, it also gives me Atopobium, which we never reported before because I can't culture them. I can't grow them in the culture. So we say negative BV in culture, it may be positive for Atopobium, we didn't know before. But this PCR sorted all this out. So we can tell it is bacterial vaginosis, and it can be because of Gardnerella or for Atopobium, even it includes the candidiasis. So it really become easier for me, and the pressure is off me to say, yes, it is bacterial vaginosis because we look up to PCR. We do the culture wherever we say, this is sensitive to metronidazole or not. We get confused, we look up to the PCR. Because once we get the PCR result, it's confirmed. See, for us, it's really very helpful. And even though I say this, we still cannot, like Arnon said, it will be replaced eventually, the culture and sensitivity in micros. I don't think so. We still need culture and microscopy, I think, because we don't get requests just for vaginitis. We get for pelvic inflammatory diseases, and even for children we get, where we have to look for group A and group B and all those other aerobic pathogens. So I don't know, maybe you will include that also in future, we don't know that. And the most interesting and informative vaginosis PCR report is the one that I'm going to show you next. I love this because it gives you the bacterial balance. Straight away, I don't have to guess, I don't have to worry about it. It tells me 7 to 57, whatever, the curves are there, everything is right in there for us to take the right decision. So after doing this vaginosis PCR and reporting all this one, again, we really grew very well. And like Scott said, we started off small laboratory. Now we are going to the medium to large laboratory. It's not entirely because of diagnostics, of course, other specimens too, but diagnostics tool provided by this PCR people is really, really, really helpful for us in our journey. And the last one is the dermatophyte. Like I was listening to Sarah, dermatophytes, time consuming. That's the first thing comes to everybody. Or you send the specimen, they take a week for the microscopy, 2 to 4 weeks for the cultural results, they have to wait. But that was amazing. This dermatophytes within 2 days. Even before I can see the microscopy, the PCR is done. So it was really, really very much faster. And believe me or not, my dermatophyte samples increased tenfold in 3 months. Because all the dermatologists started coming to us now because they get the results then and there. There's no delay. So that was very much excitement for us. And during that time, because of all this addition of panels after panels, we needed more instruments. So we started adding more and more instruments, didn't we? We ordered one more highplexes. And when we are trying to manage with that one, before going to the other one, dermatophytes, which I wanted to talk, but everybody talked about it, the scabies. Because what are we going to do about scabies? And the scabies, I also wanted to know the specimen collection. Because most of the times, if the specimen collection is not good, we don't get to see it. I have come across one Dr. Mikhail, best collector I have seen ever. In the microscope, you can see the track, the eggs being laid, at the end, the actual parasite sitting. And that sort of a collection we don't get from the normal collectors. So mainly when we say negative, it's not because we are not able to identify it, we don't get the right sample. Most of the time the collection is the problem. And training them and getting them to do the expertise work is very hard. So all these problems are solved, even if it is a little bit fungi, PCR multiplies it and it identifies which we could very well miss in our cultures. So, and another thing I want to ask you about Sarah too is Candida auris, Candida dublinensis, and the Cryptococcus laurentii. These things we couldn't identify with the molecular's help. So are we going to do something about it? Maybe it'll come from Dimitri later on. I don't know. So, then when we are having this excitement of introducing all these new panels, enjoying, there comes COVID. Then, yes. Honestly, this COVID, oh my God, it taught us so much things. When it came originally, our pathologists were very worried and said, no, we are not doing anything. We don't know the hazardous thing, how much is it actually affecting. People are dropping dead. We don't want it. We don't want to touch it. So first 1 month, we sent all the samples to New South Wales Pathology. But then guess what? As usual, Austech said, hey, we got a kit. We got a kit for SARS-CoV-2, influenza A, B, and RSV together in 8-well. Then by the time we were quite a little bit aware of COVID and its pathogenicity, how it's spreading, how dangerous it is, what can we do to prevent. So we had to look at the risk managements and all those things. Then we thought, yeah, we can do it. So in March 18, we started COVID, our first COVID, in March 18, right? Yeah. And March 2020, sorry, I don't know the date. March 2020, we started that running, and we started with 100 samples a day straight away in the beginning of the session. And we have to get accredited for COVID, otherwise we can't do the test. So we went for accreditation and we got accredited only by December. Meanwhile, the numbers picked up very much, a lot. This is the first pandemic I'm talking about. And the volume of the samples increased so much. We had one more hyplexes. But still, we managed to cope with the volume in the first pandemic, mainly because we batched. Because the first pandemic, the relativity, like positives were very less compared to the negatives. So we were able to batch them tens of fives, mostly fives. And that reduces the turnaround time. We were able to give within 18 hours results, which was very much appreciated at that time, because most of the places took 3 days to give the results. And it also saved a lot of reagents for us, because during that time the shortage came. Not available, no reagents, no kits available, sorry, we can't provide you. So we can't say that to the patients. So doing the batching helped us to save our reagents well enough to go through. But even then, Austech were really good. They never left us even at one stage with no reagents. We say, I want this, I want 90 first, I want 100, 150, no matter what. They will see that the reagents will reach us. At one stage, I remember, they even go to interstate to get me the reagents, which was very much appreciated because we never stopped running the samples because of shortage of reagents, which everyone went through. But with Austech, we never had that problem. There was always samples coming through on order. Ordered in the morning, received in the afternoon. You don't realize how important it is for our small businesses. It's really very helpful. And then because of the second output came. Second pandemic was a bit different to the first one. We couldn't cope running with the existing instruments because we couldn't batch much. The positivity was higher rate than the negatives. So what happened? We had to look up for the bigger instrument. And I now realize why. Because the moment we order one extra, it comes within a week, the instruments. But now I know from the previous speaker that they manufacture here. So as soon as we order, then we went to the UP3, we updated ourselves to the bigger instrument, 96 specimens per ton. And that is how, we started in 2018 with one empty prep, 24, and one high-plex. In end of 2021, we had 2 UP3s, 1 XL, and 2 extractors, and 4 high-plexes. So what happens is, that tells you my journey so far. This is my staff posing for the photographs. And they did a very hard job during the pandemic, you wouldn't know. We need to increase the staff. We couldn't on the spot because they're not experienced. So they took all the work on themselves, worked 12 hours, 13 hours per day to get the results out. And this is this is one we got extras now. So we had to show off my staff too. Pretty girls working for us. So once we installed all these things, it also increased the number of staff that we use. We did not save money on the staff, like somebody else has said. We had more staff, but we did save money a lot in increasing the volume of work. And the samples turnaround really increased, and we become star of the lab. Micro department, molecular is the best. And because of, and I will not say it's just because of the PSR. Of course, I do appreciate the panels and the platforms you produce. Everything is okay. But the most appreciated and most helpful thing I noticed in my experience is the staff of Austech. They are excellent. I have to give them. Because you ring them, the next minute they're there to solve the problem. A small lab or a big entity, a big corporate, doesn't matter. They are all same for them. So they come and every concerns are taken seriously. Every issues we put forward to them, they always attend to it and they come back to us with a solution. Never left us in limbo. One QAP failed. We didn't do anything. We repeat again and again. It still does not pick up the Giardia. So we ring and tell, Natalie, come and take the sample. Sample goes to the research and development team. They work on it. See, these are the things that helps us to keep our good quality work in the output. I have worked with so many people in my 28 years of experience. This is the first time I have the experience of working with the manufacturers in such a close contact. But other reps and other ones, we see them once a year. Hi, hello, how are you? Everything okay? Any complaints? Everything fine? That's it. But this is the place I can tell them, hey, this is not working. Why is it? Why is the tube not picking up? Anyway. Meanwhile, I have to introduce my subordinate, Degi. She is from Mongolia, scientist in molecular. She joined us in 2000, just before COVID, very handy. Her expertise helped us a lot. Because I ran microbiology department, it was very much hard for me to run molecular as well, this one too, and she gave me a lift. She came in and she took over most of the presentation, half because of her too. I won't take the credit. So she's been helpful, and she's running our molecular department very well at the moment. So what else can I say? That's all it is. So along with Austech Diagnosis, I think that we are also growing, and my journey with Austech Diagnosis is really, really enjoyable. I hope it continues for future too. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about my experience.